Can it hear you? Sign and so. All right, it is 7 o'clock on Tuesday, the 11th of October, and I'll call the meeting to order. First agenda item. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, It is full with everything. We have Amy Freed, myself, Russ Edwards, Joe Marco, and our administrative assistant, Melissa Fruier. And what we have now is a review of minutes from September 27th. Draft copies in front of you. Have you done anything about the tree limbs from the
I
historic?
talked to Joe and told him what we wanted done, and he hasn't
Okay.
back to me, but I'll bug him again.
Okay. And as far as consolidated communications, I still haven't heard anything if they've gotten the
Grant or not?
bid for doing the fiber.
Yeah, I'd like a little fiber through here.
Looks like everything has been updated as per the comments we'd had, so it looks good. I entertain a motion to approve the minutes as printed. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so Melissa, next week we can have them, so we'll sign them. We've started a new process. What we're doing now is after the minutes are approved, we're signing, so you know that you have the actual copy, not something that was printed off once and checked, or possibly changed, printed off again. So we've started that as an improvement to the transparency, our proceedings. And we've signed ones from the 12th of September. The important thing we have tonight is on the agenda item is the sale of a piece of property. And Scott, you're here, which is great. The three of us are here, and we have our administrative assistant, who is also a notary public. So we can take care of that. I sent you the documents and copy, which I have here, that are the official ones. You're all with the check and everything for us? Yep. Okay. So what I have first of all is the quick claim deed. So why don't you come up and we'll start getting signed. There's, and you have $590. Yep. But that'll go to the registry of deeds. I guess we take it down. And it's separate, yep, and it's separate 60, yep. All right, and if you can sign on that sheet. That's from the second page of the quick claim deed. Checklist the lawyer sent us, which was nice. Yep. take you with me. Let's see, 11th day. Over. So, this, and then we go see Melissa, and she gets to do her thing.
Do you have your driver's license on you? Not you.
Scott, your driver's license on you?
Yep.
I just need to. Who did you say you are?
Scott.
Thank you.
How many times do people screw your name up and put Drew Scott because of the Drew Scott decision? I always do it. I had to correct myself.
Thank you.
They left us. And they took the checks too. Are you gonna stick around?
I can.
Okay, because the one part you might want to hear.
Okay. Okay.
Sounds like for you. Oh.
Pardon? No, I was gonna talk. Working tomorrow.
There's one other part you're gonna need, and that is purchaser, but you have to wait till the deed gets registered. So if you want me to wait, because I think we've got quite a fill out as well when I get notification it's registered. Because this goes to DRA, not to, this is That's one of these three.
Okay.
Seller, purchaser, and this is an inventory thing from the town. So as soon as it gets registered, I'll be filling out hours. I can get with you and get that part done too.
That's easy.
And that does it. Thank you very much.
Hang on, just
Sure.
the other list. Now, do I get any of the copies or are they all here?
You've got the copies of the checks and of the quit claim deed, so if that, once it gets filed, we should be all set. So, that takes care of that. The next item on the agenda is this well that the town of Newport is anticipating putting in, and because it has the potential for, you know, impacting water supplies in Croydon, they are required by the state to notify adjoining municipalities. And when they notified us, we thought it was in the public's best interest to hold a public hearing so that anybody can ask all the questions they have to the town of Newport and for the actual well drillers, which is Weston and Sampson engineers. We have a technical, and I think many times it'll be much easier to ask in person. That hearing is to be held Tuesday, October 25th, 2022 at 7 p.m. right here in the Croydon Town Hall. And it looks like Newport is the one that has to actually publish the hearing notice, but I'm going to make sure it gets published around town as well.
Yeah.
So that we can make sure. We've had a number of people spreading the word already from the time we got the notification, so that we want to make sure the meeting is well attended. And
Can I give them a little background? Can I give them a little background on what's involved with this thing?
if you know,
Okay, I went through the book, and the reason I've been going around trying to talk to a lot of people in the flats, but it's still going to affect the other people up through here, because the plan is to remove 500,000 gallons a day from Hasserlat Park. The refill area, what they show, they have a damage by the state area of 2,000 feet around this well. The test that they've applied for, it's not permission to operate, it's permission to test for 7 days, 500,000 gallons a day, which is going to be what they're putting out. But the recovery area follows each side of the river about 50 to 100 yards, straight up through into the flats, and all along my and along with the others is the level of the river now. They're not pulling directly from the river. They're pulling from the substrata just a few feet off the bedrock. So what they're doing is pulling out of the main aquifer. Our water basin runs from Grantham up around Enfield, Springfield, around there, and it's funneled between Croydon Mountain and Pennyroyal down here, comes to a shape. Hasserlat Park is at the southernmost tip of that water aquifer and basin. Presently, Newport uses 2 wells. They have a surface pump off of Gilman Pond, and they have another well in southern aquifer part of Newport. They have nothing in this aquifer at all. Personally, I feel with the drought that Gilman Pond isn't refilling quick enough for their extent, but they have it as an outlet use plus their current usage to keep up. 500,000 gallons a day on the flow of the river itself. Granted, you know, it's not as big as it sounds. However, pulling it that deep out of the aquifer, there's a lot of hand dug wells and a lot of other shallow wells that can be readily affected. We've already had residents in the flats with hand dug wells that had issues the past 2 or 3 years. In this book, all the surveys they've done, the newest actual water flow and recovery area tests they have is 2015, 2016. And that's about when we moved in. And I guarantee you personally, I can tell you that Sugar River is lower all year now than it was all year back then. The water's way less. This drought's got a big effect, and I think as many that are along the river should come in because these people are gonna, I'd like to see them do more studies, plus a big guarantee if these hand dug wells are done. I don't want the people having to pay for it to get it replaced and everything, so we need a lot of people to come into these hearings, this hearing. Yes.
Oh, David, so I'm just wondering if the town could send maybe like a postcard notice to all the residents who would land in that aquifer to make sure they're aware of the hearing, because we know sometimes.
We've been going up and down, and once we got this settling, I mean, I haven't personally been on Facebook in over 36 days, but I'm gonna go on to, my blood pressure's dropped 20 points. But I'm gonna go back on to post this and stuff. We've been noticing, I mean, that's, we can discuss that, sending something out. I mean, we're trying to do some foot coverage and getting it flat to the neck, face to face, to make sure there's no question. So anyone along the river, I'm trying to get a hold of, people that have wells within that area. I mean, granted, I know Spectacle is kind of a buffer, but if the water level drops below Spectacle, it's gonna pull it out of there. So it should actually have, I mean, water flows downhill and gravity works. So if it comes out down there, it's gotta come up here to refill. Yes.
So does Newport present at this meeting why they want/need this well?
Well, that's part of what we're gonna ask. That's part of what we're gonna ask in the hearing is to, why they need it. Is it, because like I said, this is the first well that they're drilling up here. They have one in the south that they use to supply in Gilman Pond. And this aquifer is actually separate from the one on the other end of town. In this, we've been passing the book back and forth so that we're all pretty much up on it come the hearing and stuff, but there are some decent drawings with the survey area, the impact area. The state required damage area is 2,000 foot around the circle, which doesn't affect any wells in Croydon. However, the replenish area does.
Our first notice was a letter on September 16th from the New Hampshire Department of Environmental Service. And they were reviewing the administrative completeness for the preliminary well siting large groundwater withdrawal permit application. And as part of that, for RSA, they needed to have, notify the other municipalities. And if the municipality requested, they had to hold a hearing. So we took the preliminary motion of asking for that hearing and did that on the 28th of September. So there was a kind of a week before, and then they took the time to figure out when for the hearing, because they have to post a notice. The time frame was between the 24th and the 27th. We have a select board meeting the 27th anyway, so
25th
or 25th, pardon me. So we figured, okay, let's have it right down and make sure that we get the message out to the public to show up. So I think we've done what we can at this point. And I'd like to, encourage as many people as possible to attend, to ask questions of them and see where they stand with the data that they've got. And we'll see what the outcome is at that point.
What time is that meeting again?
That meeting's here.
At 7.
At 7 p.m.?
Yep.
Okay.
So, okay. Yes, sir.
Out of curiosity, Gary Martin from Claremont. Am I allowed to speak? I don't know sometimes what rules are.
Okay, I'm recognizing you, so yes, you may speak.
So in saying that, if Croydon doesn't approve of it, do you have the ability to object and therefore it doesn't go forward?
I don't know the answer to that at this point. Looking through the book, I haven't figured out quite what the hearing accomplishes or doesn't accomplish fully. So I may have to call DES and
I don't
find
think-
Find out.
information. You still have the book, or do you?
Amy has the book.
Because I want to be studying that next. This is the amount of study that they sent out, so it
Let me
is
show the one map.
a fair amount
People
of
can see.
information. It's a bit to digest.
If I may, recommendation, they sent an RSA in the letter. I'd go back and look maybe at the RSA and see what Croydon has.
There's a number of RSAs they reference, so.
Look at the RSA to find out if approval needed or if this is basically just emergency. Because I think you raised some really good points about the people in that area, but the ability of the town select board to oppose it as people, right, it's gonna be kind of hard.
I think DES won't even confirm that we have enough people and enough reasoning. I mean, we can't just have, blank statements that you can't reasoning and things to follow through. I'm going to study it. The big is the 2,000-foot radius that the state says is protected, but that's the hurt damage area. This in the red area with the dots is the recovery area, and you can see how high into the flat and how much is affected by it. Pass it around so everybody can get a look at it. That's why it's so important that people get out and come to it.
Okay, well, while that's being passed around, I'm proposing we have an additional select board meeting on the 17th to start our budgeting process. That's the only thing we're going to work on for that meeting.
Yep.
If that's acceptable, I'll get it, make sure we get it posted outside and over at the store and stuff. That work for you? Okay. Because we got to get the budget going. I've got a number of items. Highway Department is giving me some bid information on some different highways.
Oh, they got
and
them?
stuff.
Good.
So we've got some things to look at there, as well as knowing that the cost of everything is going up. It's going to be a busy budget session. Website updates. Last week, it was either last week or just after the last meeting, I did one of the webinars that they had for training on how to actually update the website that we're going to be switching to. It looks pretty good. There's a couple more steps to go, and then we'll be able to turn the website on so that we'll have a much better, more active, easier to control website. One of the factors that I did not understand, that I missed when we looked over the information from them, email is not controlled by the website.
Mhm.
We have to contract with that separately. And I believe our Microsoft Office package should come with email. So I need to contact CCI to see what it takes to get that activated. And that should give us a good solid email package and a good solid website to correct the issues we've had, the one that hasn't been as robust as we'd like.
It's not functioning.
Yeah. Right now, when I went onto the Croydon website, Town Hall,
Pardon me?
when I went onto Google's Croydon, New Hampshire, for your website, it's coming up saying your certificate's expired,
Yeah, but it's trusted,
untrusted. Well,
no safety certificate.
Okay.
just-
Well, I know we've been having problems and the email's been having problems too, so we've taken the steps to try to switch to a better provider. And seeing as how there's a fair number of towns in the state that use Civic Plus as their provider, I figured if they've got the site, and I've looked at their other sites, that was the better way to go. If, looking back, we made a mistake. We tried to go a little less expensive and it kind of came back and bit us. So now we're going to try to improve it and make it so that it's much more friendly to all of us as well as the public, and we'll be able to publish more information easier. So the report of the chair I'll have to send to you electronically. It did turn out to be quite a bit more correspondence that I'd like to cover quickly. One in particular to the Board of Selectmen. Thank you for considering our request to use the town hall for 12 hours per week for our group learning. We wanted to update you to let you know that we found a wonderful and supportive space to use on a weekly basis, and we withdraw this request. Thank you again, Christy McKeon. So the homeschoolers group is withdrawing their application to use the space. That'll get filed. I think we've got finally the last piece for the audit, and that was the piece, the financial statement that the treasurer had to sign and everything, and she's taking care of that. I'll get that scanned and sent to the auditors, and then they'll be able to publish the information as per usual. And another piece that ties right with that is the letter from the lawyers covering the things that they have to address with the auditors, such as is the town in any any legal battles or anything, and that was cleared up, nothing there. We got a piece of mail today that maybe you can answer a question on, I don't know. Have we ever been a member of the American Business Association? I don't recall that before. I'll check with Charlene and with Christy. I think it's just a way to get to, you know.
Yeah, it's, you know, put it in a book that nobody ever looks at.
Right. I don't think we've ever done it. There's a company out there, Thompson Grants. It's a company that does all kinds of grant education and compliance. They have different programs, so they were wondering if we wanted to have compliance expert platform. At this, we only have an application in for one grant for the Croydon Fire Department. I don't think we need to worry about expending any additional money considering we don't have any grants going. And then state of New Hampshire. The inhabitants of Croydon, this is to bring your votes for governor, senator, United States rep, Congress, executive counselor, state senator, state rep, and county officers. This is a form we're going to fill out, and I'm pretty sure we've done that each year with no problems. And we've got the town treasurer's monthly report, which is valuable for us doing our budgeting. I'll make sure we've got that for next week. And from Department of Revenue Administration, please find the enclosed Sullivan County apportionment for 2022. The apportionment is based on a net tax commitment of $15,402,937 as voted by the county convention and certified to us by its chairman and clerk. And it breaks down different towns in Sullivan County. And our part is 1.8705%, which figures out to be $288,119 of the county budget. One of those things that we just have to add into our budgeting. And they sent us 2 copies. Charlene was nice enough to print off copies of the New Hampshire Municipal Association 2022 general calendar. And we got a little bit left from this year. and she gave us one of the 2023, so we'll keep it in the folder there so you can check on any upcoming things going on. There was also a septic plan, with no paperwork.
Yeah, we put it in from the planning board. We did the subdivision last week. We just, lake property. We just did the subdivision, taking this part out of the original property. Planning board went over everything, and that's why we put it in here for us to give it, go on over if we're good with it. And the setbacks, everything, this is it.
So this will just need to get added to the property.
Right, right.
Is the,
This is the water line.
oh, okay,
This is the shore, right here.
Yep.
The water's here, dirt's here, but this is the state line. right
okay.
here. And 75 from the well.
Now, do we need to stamp and sign this, or
We
we
should.
just need to file?
We should stamp and sign it.
Okay, stamp. Go ahead and sign it. Don't lie. Go ahead and sign where Joe is. Under old business, I haven't heard anything more from Kevin Cream. And
We,
forward his stuff to
I
the
gave
zoning
it to the
board,
planning
or
board.
planning board.
We looked at it. We're going to pull the deed and verify what the property card and what the deed card says. And they're in agreement too. If the card and the deed are aligned up, there's no way we can separate it.
Okay. Crossing guard, signage and so forth.
Okay.
You said you had some information for us.
Okay, the previous information we were given about obtaining these signs was very false. We are, I sent the email for approval. I have the email address of the gentleman I am contact, and he is going to send us a list of types. We can have the school zone, flashy, like Newport does, solar option, which I think would be best. They also have the ones that say school zone, your speed is blue, turns purple or whatever, starts flashing when you go above the speed. I'm gonna have the list of the units and prices to decide. The majority of school towns that don't have, that police don't supply, you know, that, like Manchester.
Yeah.
They have things like that, but the smaller towns and stuff. The schools and stuff usually take care of a crossing guard, you know, for a few hours in the morning, a few hours in the afternoon. The lights and everything that we can set up, we can get the ones spaced on the school, and then another set for an area for crossing if they're interested in that. He said, well, is there a large number of kids crossing the road? I said, sir, we have 28 kids going to that school left. He said, no problem.
So basically, we're waiting for some cost.
Right.
Information.
I sent I got the verbal approval from Bill Lambert down at Traffic
Mhm.
in DOT. He said he needs a formal written, so I emailed him that, formally requesting it, and he's gonna hook me up with the dude for the actual work done. He gave us names of places that can do the install on it, but I don't see why Joe and Joe couldn't do it. It's a simple concrete pad,
Yeah.
4 bolts.
Especially if we have the solar version, which doesn't
Right.
require.
Wiring, nothing, yeah.
Well, I guess we'll keep that on as old business.
Yeah, I should have information probably even by the 17th, because, I mean, Lambert got back to me right away, and he said the other guy.
It'd be nice if we could have it over the 17th to start looking at how to fund it.
Which
See if
ones?
we can
Yeah,
get some
right.
of the funds from the school as well.
Right.
Under new business, Joe, our highway agent, came to me the other day with information on a different proposal for the Brighton Road Bridge. Instead of replacing the entire bridge, there's a company out there that will simply go in, excavate the eroding bottom section that's deteriorated, put forms, structural steel, rebar, whatever it takes, and rebuild it at a significant cost savings. I don't have the cost estimate yet, but he was talking more like 80,000 versus 200. So.
And no road closure.
So instead of replacing all of the bridge, where 3/4 of it is still in good shape, just fix the part that's bad. And once we get the quote from them, we can discuss it
Right.
further and see how that's gonna work out. Because we have enough in the, and that would avoiding an additional cost and any tax increase too, which. Transfer station price increase. You said something about that because it looks like the price of everything's going up.
Right, the tire disposal, they added an additional $1 per tire, so we're gonna have to raise from $4 a tire. They've also initiated a $100, excuse me, $98.95 fuel surcharge that they've added on to the bills every time they pull out to do it. I mean, it's not like we dump tires too often. We try to do it once, maybe twice a year.
Yep.
To get a large one out, but we do have to raise those rates. I'm gonna call on electronics and stuff, and after those are picked up, we may end up increasing that too. I mean, I'll try and get a heads up on it before they do come and pick it up.
I think I've got the latest Casella monthly total email, and I'll forward that to
Okay.
you.
Yeah.
I
So I'm gonna try and figure out what we got left for the rest of the year.
Right. I suspect we're gonna go over our budget for.
It'll be the same as it was last year, so we may end up bumping it because it's the fuel surcharges, the actual increases in rates.
Yeah, because even at the recycle center that Casella has down on Newport Road, they're charging per bag.
Right, for recycling.
Recycled material, because
Yeah.
it's costing them that much more just to pick it up and transport it, because the cost of fuel has jumped up.
So far, all of ours have had increases in fuel surcharges.
I didn't have anything else under new business. Did you have anything? Anything from you? Then I'm willing to open it up to public forum. I see a number of non-familiar faces, so I'm presuming you're probably going for public office. And if you care to speak, we'd be more than willing to have you.
First of my colleagues, right?
I didn't catch the budget meeting date
The 17th.
of this month.
Yeah. When we add a meeting, we try to keep it on a Tuesday as well to make it, as similar as possible to other select board meetings. Only rarely have we deviated from that.
So Monday the 17th at 7.
Walt Stapleton, Sullivan County District 5 representative. That's Claremont Ward 3, but applied to file one for the new District 6, which is Claremont Croydon. I took interest in the bridge reconstruction. Could you repeat the name of that bridge location?
It is on Brighton Road here in Croydon. When you go down to what we call the flat and turn corners.
Croydon Brook.
Take a right up.
Well,
Yeah, Croydon Brook is the, and then you go past Croydon Turnpike and the next road to the right is Brighton.
Right in the road.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's what, about a half mile? Not even,
So my house is like 6 miles.
yeah, it's right at a half a mile up is the bridge. And the upper surface, the issue that the state has is the corrugation underneath on the bottom is rotted out. So the plan is to weld rebar and pour
I was
concrete.
going to ask if that had anything to do with the flood, hurricane damage that we had last year. Is there
Yeah,
funds available for
This
that?
has been red listed for,
Surface.
yeah, this has been red listed for longer than I've been on the board.
Yeah, so abutments and everything is fine. It's down.
Yeah, all that's good. The only issue they had was the underlay, the corrugation at the bottom.
So you're essentially on your own, except whatever might be out there for a program from DOT.
Right, right. And then this program that they came up with, the bridge company to fix it, should be like half, at least half of what it is.
Any FEMA funds available, maybe?
Well, we had been trying to get some, I have been held up by some information on the applications of it. There are some bridge funds with this repair in. I want to see if they're available for just repair. It has to be complete.
It's a big hit for a town your
Right.
size.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
So whatever you can get.
Right. Yeah, and see, with this way, I don't have to wait for, I don't have to deal with, temporary bridge, taking somebody's property, closing that part of the road, because they're gonna do all of this without affecting traffic flow.
Yeah, you just got to be aware that DOT or FEMA federal funds are going to come with criteria for the construction.
Right, that's why I have to see if repairing can
Yeah,
be done with that.
measure that balance.
Yeah, yeah, because complete replacement would, I mean, we were, at the time before all this increase in inflation last year, we're looking at close to $180,000, $200,000.
Yeah, and going up.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
Wanted to come in, introduce myself. I'm Jonathan Stone. I'm running for District 8, the newly created authority position for your state representative, which includes Croydon. I'm currently a third-term city councilor, and look forward to having any questions that folks may have, or concerns for the State House. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bring this back up in front anyway. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Don Betancourt from Sunapee. 2 years ago, I ran for state rep in the Sunapee Croydon district. And so many of you may know who I am from that. This time, same as John, it's a bigger district, nine towns, District 8. And my website is solutions4nh.com. If anybody has any questions, all my contact information is there. Just wanted to introduce myself.
Great, thank you very much.
Thank you. I am Rob Levitt out of Claremont. As well as this other gentleman, am running for the same seats for Sullivan County District 8, which does encompass Croydon. I've had the good pleasure of meeting Hope Damon recently, as she's also running for the seat. And I think the Stand Up for Croydon event was really a call to action for this area, one that I've been following fairly closely. Very interested in the results that took place here, and I think it speaks to a larger issue that we have in this area. I think the Upper Valley has been disenfranchised, specifically as it comes to education funding, and I'm hoping that or any other concerns that you might have, whether it be energy, abortion rights, gun rights, whatever it might be, I hope that you can count on me to be a great representative for you moving forward. Look forward to any support that you have. Really appreciate you guys taking the time to have me up here today. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay.
Hey, everybody, y'all know I'm Hope Damon. And are you counting? If you're counting, we've got 5 rep seats. This is new terrain. So just to review the 2 districts, District 8, which I am running in, which covers 9 towns, including Croydon, obviously, and Claremont, and 7 more. And District 6 is 3 seats that are Claremont and Croydon. So you're seeing a good sampling here tonight. Who's missing? Let's see.
John Cloutier.
All of the floterial is here, and half of the other district. Anyway, I think you guys all know, I'm honest, I'm hardworking. Education as the core of my heart, how we do it, how we fund it. We have to do a better job. And there's much more than that. This well situation intrigues me a lot. I'm really concerned to find out what the environmental impacts would be on a broader level and how we do that. And as Gary noted, how much control do we have or not? But I think we need to be very deliberate and thorough going forward. And I appreciate what you guys have been doing and looking at that. I also want to say thank you for the rather efficient process on the safety issue with the road and the school. I'm really excited that that's going to be improved. So thank you all. Okay, the website is o4nh.com for the word OR.
Thank you. Gary Merchant, Ward 2, Claremont, New Hampshire. Basically, I'm a native of the state. I've been here all my life. And I'm trying to make the state as important to all of us as possible. I will say this, I've met a few of you. The passion of Croydon is what you folks have done as a community. I was over the school before, talking to them. And pulling together as a community, it's a village, and it takes a village. But really what makes it all work is people like yourselves that are willing to come together on behalf of the village, on behalf of your students. That kind of passion really do you see. I hope I have a chance to represent Concord. If you have any questions for me, I want to say your insight into the well, what was going on with water, was very insightful. I hope you have something you can do for Croydon and not just have it as a courtesy to folks, because if there are in fact people in this community that have dug wells that are struggling and they have to go back and reach into the pockets, which are getting thin, and have to fill the gap and make the well deeper. It's important for people like you to be here at this counter, this table, to protect it. So thank you for what you're doing. But if I can help in any way, state level, with DES, RSAs and so forth, by all means, just give me a call. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
Just, unfortunately, I've had to drive 800 miles over the last week, and for the school signs, there was a very effective one. It's probably the most expensive. It was on a little mini trailer, and it's like said, speed is, your speed is, and if you went over it, it flashed red and blue.
Right.
Like, these was very effective. Just,
I'd like one that just says smile when you're speeding and then has a flash, whether it takes a picture or not. But I don't think you're allowed to use them in New Hampshire.
Doesn't mean you can't. You can put a mock one up there. I like your
That's what I mean. Now, I don't care if it's real, just a flash and a smile when you're speeding, you know?
I can't remember the phrase that London has from time to time. And like ask a question and then.
Oh,
raise your foot.
who's against speeding tickets? Raise your right foot.
Right.
Yeah.
You automatically do it, even if you're not saying it.
Yeah.
If you want a good education on how many people speed, when you're headed someplace, get on the interstate, put your cruise control on 65 and see how many people pass.
You're like you're standing still.
I got an anchor out, I think.
You know, the other thing which you get if you're speeding and someone's driving back, you come up against the left hand side and you just fall right there. And almost inevitably people are going to put the foot on the gas just to outrage you. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think one of the things that's happened in the past number of years is speeding is becoming accepted. And I find that very disheartening.
Yeah, the fact, I think a lot of it has to do with the fact of archaic speed limit regulations to an extent as compared to vehicle safety advancements. That's been the same amount of time. Speed limits haven't really gone up, but I can guarantee you the size of your drums, of your brakes, and your discs have increased. over the
No,
last
they
30
have
years.
not. Absolutely not. I've been a mechanic since 1969. So, no. In fact, they've gotten lighter.
They may have gotten lighter.
No, they've gotten lighter and smaller.
I'm not here to argue.
No.
I wouldn't because I've done it for a living.
The other aspect of it is, you know, you still have a heavy vehicle, you've got 4 little tiny patches of rubber on the ground. No matter how good your brakes are or how good your reflexes are, it still takes X amount of seconds or microseconds to respond to an emergency and hit the brake. And going faster simply reduces the amount of time you have to avoid something.
You're not hearing any argument about that.
Okay.
I'm gonna sign this.
Anything else? Yes, sir.
Thank you, because I wasn't prepared to be here for long, but I think it's one of the fastest board meetings I've ever been to. So I give my compliments to the chair for running a very efficient meeting in less than an hour. Unheard of.
We really try to keep it down and we try to make sure we've covered everything. So thank you for the compliment. If there's nothing, yes, Scott.
Just have one question relating to the transfer station. What is the reason why we don't recycle plastics?
The cost.
We know which,
Recycle plastics.
The cost.
it's a very complicated question because it's a combination of people to sort plastics because many times if you mix it, it's harder to separate and everything, and you have to have a certain amount. When we were recycling the plastic bottles, number one, primarily, if you have somebody that contaminates it with even a small amount of something else, the suppliers automatically drop what they pay for significantly. And if you can't at least pay for your trucking by the amount you get for the recycled materials, it's just an additional cost above what we're dealing with. Last year's NRA conference dealt with that significantly. The biggest problem is contaminated material. If you could have a big truckload of pure number 1, 4, 5, whatever, there's places out in the Midwest that even at that distance and the cost of trucking, it still would be economical to send it. But the minute it gets contaminated, they drop the price by about 90%. So either have to have somebody that's in our own location, which is just prohibitive. Problem we've got, we just don't have good space to be able to do it. So that's why I try to encourage people to utilize the Casella recycle facility. It's not that far down the road and I stock my stuff up. We're doing well with the glass and that actually saves us significantly because any glass going into the municipal waste costs very much in the weight.
3 times
And
the
putting
amount.
it into the glass bin, which we take over to
Sudbury. Or New London.
New London. And they crush it up and it's the material that you can use in sections of like driveways, culverts. Joe loves the stuff to put underneath culverts. He says it packs down better. It doesn't hold water. You get less frost damage and everything else. So we got the bin up there and we only have to truck it about. And that's, you know, that's a smaller amount. And that takes that much weight out of the municipal waste stream that really costs the town a substantial amount.
I was just curious.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, if I could talk about that a little bit. In Environment and Agriculture Committee, we had a bill relative to plastic because the world is awash with plastics. There are hundreds of different types of plastic. And so any reclaim and reuse of those has to be categorized and sorted. Then, of course, their effect. One of the most interesting bills we had was on advanced recycling of certain quality grades of waste plastics can be heated under pressure into source stocks, which make them a plastic. And this is possible even to make some fuel components out of waste plastics. There's some companies, I believe in Ohio and elsewhere, that have already set up plants that do that, and they appeared before Environment and Agriculture Committee this past term in order to push for law authority for the problem of excessive plastic waste, while at the same time aiding the environment as well as jobs and economy for New Hampshire. So that's a direction we're going to continue to follow and pursue, and hope that we can pass so we can have that aspect of the market here in New Hampshire for that plastic waste.
Great. Sure.
With the tires, instead of them coming to pick it up, can the guys bring it to the tire place?
No,
No.
we have somebody come pick them up.
No, we would have to get a box truck because we generally have 200 to 300 tires and it's a trip down to Massachusetts. So with fuel and everything else, it would cost us more than $100. I mean, just their wages, to load, unload and travel back and forth would be a day's wages at $25 an hour. So it's more than $100 surcharge, plus we'd still have to pay the $4 for the per tire.
If there's nothing else, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
All in favor?
Aye.